Good morning, everybody. My name is Joe, Joe Shrimp Shack. How you guys doing today? As you guys see, I shaved down the beard. Had to get a new summer look and everything else. I'm going to be trying something a little bit new. We're going to try it today and see how it goes, and then we'll go over and continue this on. So what I want to do is I have a special guest. Let me explain who the special guest is. I do a lot of different shows back and forth, and then I went down to a show down in Louisiana and went down there, and I had a listener, subscriber, whatever you want to kind of call it, stop at the show and had a lot of interest in the aquatic field. And with this with them having interest in there, I told them to come back the next day and then get to know everybody else. But the thing is, she found her way to my heart. She made gumbo. And I'm a foodie, so everybody knows. So everybody, we have Brooklyn Bell here. How you doing? You got to move your camera just a little bit. The other way. There we go. How you doing?
Struggling with my camera.
It happens, though.
Yeah.
So let's see who's all in the chat. So we got Fish and Tantics in here. You got Rink Shrimp Farm. Michael E. Crypt Keeper. How you doing? Just kind of go through a lot of them quick. SC Cattle House. Wow, that's a long one. I pronounced it wrong, so. But no, everybody's like super happy. She is working on getting a computer, or something like that, either a computer or we end up doing an iPad or something like that.
Yeah, something better than one phone.
Because she can't see the chat.
I can. So, I was just about to ask you that.
Can you see the chat?
Why can't I see right now on my screen? Is this a different? I can see it, but I've never been able to see it on anybody's.
Because before, when you did on someone else's, they didn't have you as an admin on there.
Gotcha.
So,
okay.
And then you have to go to chat, and you have to click on chat. So now I have you as an admin. So as an admin, you can go over and see. You can basically, literally, like if you had a computer right now, you could literally click on stuff, and you could highlight it for me and everything else.
I see. Okay.
Mystery Snail Guardian says, "I say hi."
Hi, Annette.
She's like, what? All right, so I'm just reading everybody's all messages right there. Perfect. No, so we met down in Aquafest down in Louisiana this was this year actually. Down at Aquafest, and I enjoyed it. And someone brought some gumbo. Was that was chicken gumbo or pork gumbo? I can't remember.
It was chicken and sausage. Gumbo. Chicken and sausage gumbo.
I'm a foodie, so I loved it. So I ate a lot of food down there. I ain't gonna lie. So they already announced that they're gonna do it this coming year. I think it's when did we decide it was? It was August. I want to say, was it August?
No. No, you. Am I frozen?
No, you're not frozen.
You are.
Am I? I'm not frozen.
Well, you are on mine. Wish I could screenshot it.
Can you hear me though?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. I'm punching up his message because he literally told me when it's gonna be.
So I saw you said April in another stream, but I don't know. It was in January this year, so I don't know.
Yep. So they push it back though. So if I said April, it's gonna be April 5th. I'm trying to find the right message on this one. I think he sent it to me on. Let's do this one. Eric right there. There's Eric right here. It's on this message right here. All right, here it is right here. April 15th and 16th of 2023 in Slidell.
All right.
That's when it's going to be. So our anticipation on this one is we do it in Slidell this year, promote it more towards the freshwater side. We're trying to get more freshwater people there. And then, in fact, they'll probably end up moving it to New Orleans in a convention center, which is super exciting and everything. So right now we have Pet World. He's the one that brings all the wood to all the shows. He confirmed with me that he's going to go over and do a booth. We have
Pet World Who is that?
Pet World. Tim is my buddy. Tim owns the company. They're out of Lawrence, Kansas. He's the one that he's known as
Pet
the
World
Woodman.
Lawrence.
Yeah, he brings
Oh,
all
okay.
the wood to the shows. So he
I
literally
ordered
brings
from him before.
Yeah, he brings tons of wood. So I talked to him and I said, "Hey, bud, if I go down there, will you go down there?" And he's just like 100%.
Oh, awesome.
And then I had Custom Aquariums, Mark Beavers. He's the one that gave away that overflow. He confirmed that he's going to do a booth there as well. Eric Lucas always does one with me. I told Jess from the Aquatic Morning Show she'll probably go down there with me as well. So right now we have a 10 by 20 booth set up. Yep, 10 by 20 booth, but he's going to try and veer it towards more freshwater, trying to get more of the freshwater people in there. So
that'd be nice.
I mean,
I didn't know what to expect when I went. So
did you have fun?
I knew. Well, yeah, I met all of y'all. Y'all were great.
You just sat in our booth too. That was kind of funny. We're like, come on.
Yeah, I didn't go to any other booths at all the whole time. Yeah. And you didn't think I was going to come back on Sunday either. I told you I was.
Well, I felt bad for your husband because it's you came there and you're there for quite a few hours.
He didn't
the first day, and I'm like, well, come back tomorrow and stuff, and we'll have some more fun and stuff. And you could tell he was like super not into it. He was just like, yeah, this is not my hobby.
He wasn't in a bad mood or anything. He just said his back was hurting. He's a plumber, and he is a small, or he's a skinny guy, and they make him do all the jobs like
he is
where he's got to crawl under houses and stuff. He's the guy for that.
He's like $145.
Yeah,
something like that. But obviously he supports you in everything that you're doing because you're getting more tanks, you're doing more setups. Yeah.
I don't know if he supports me. I think I just get the tanks, and he doesn't complain too much. But
he doesn't complain too much. I mean, I know you got a lot of different stuff, but your aquascape, like when you told me that you aquascape and you sent me a picture, it looked very professionally done.
But that's my first one, and I'm telling you, mistakes were made. A lot of mistakes were made with this scape. It could be super glued to the glass, which it probably is. Just say, so if I got blackbeard algae on this hardscape, it's not coming out. I can't just take the rocks out and pressure wash it or anything like that. It's stuck.
We can fix it though. We can fix it. We can peroxide it to get it off.
Oh, well,
so I did an actual video of how to remove blackbeard algae with peroxide. So you direct shoot it with peroxide. I did it every single day for about 10 days and it fixed it.
Do you have to drop the water? No? Okay.
No, I did it. So what I did, I do believe it's 8 milliliters per 10 gallons is what you used. In this tank I did it in, I had no living organisms, so I had no shrimp in there, no fish, no nothing. So I didn't care how much I did. But peroxide is H2O2. So in 30 minutes, it turns to H2O. So it turns just back to water. So that's what you do is you unplug your filtration so you don't have a lot of flow because you want to keep your healthy bacteria inside your sponge filter, inside your hang-on back. You dose it, wait a half hour, and then you plug your filtration back in.
Just dose it in the tank?
No, it's direct spray it.
Okay. Because there actually is three little dots I see. And I saw that.
Is it on a rock or a leaf?
It's on driftwood.
Wood. Yeah, because I tell people if it's on a leaf and stuff, just cut the leaf off.
I would, yeah. Easier. Well, none of this is planted. I'm still waiting to order from the stems from you.
And that's what we're going to do that today. So
this is all just floating. But I have blackbeard algae in my 55-gallon. It's horrible. I've removed all the hardscape out of it. Have
you checked your flow? That's usually causes it's a nutrient imbalance, and then it's usually a lot of stagnant water sitting right there, and that's usually where you get the blackbeard algae. And then it starts spreading.
It's on the spray bar, and the heater, and all the canister equipment.
Did you fertilize that tank?
I quit fertilizing that tank because the TDS was 1477. Stephen was doing testing on it to figure out why that tank has a TDS so high, and all my other tanks are around 300, 350 or something like that. But that one was 1477, and he said that I think he said the potassium, I think
Yep.
he said was off the charts, but we really didn't solve what the mystery was.
So this is I had Tyler Volk on. He owns a company called Liquid Gardens here in Minnesota. He makes fertilizer. A lot of times what people tend to overlook when they start fertilizing a tank is once they start fertilizing, you got to continuously fertilize. If all of a sudden you stop fertilizing, you're going to have a nutrient imbalance. But a lot of times people don't realize that when you fertilize, you might not have enough fast growing plants to utilize that fertilizer in that time period. So a lot of times what they do is everybody's used to doing only a 25% water change. In theory, when you have a tank that you fertilize, you should do, in theory, a 40 to 45% water change. Because what happens is it resets your tank with the nutrient levels that are in there before you put fertilizer in there. So if you have a tank that's 100 gallons and you only take 10 gallons out, that's only a tenth of a water change, and you fertilize every week. The next week when you fertilize the very next time, you already have nutrients in there for fertilizer. You just keep on stacking it up over and over, and that's where you get a nutrient balance, and that's where you get the blackbeard algae and all this algae.
I'm not fertilizing right now, and I'll show you why. So I got some plecos. I got 2 bristlenose from Steven, and they're destroying the swords that are in it. Which, whatever, I'm letting them enjoy the last of it, and then I'm not going to put any more swords in there. But because of the blackbeard algae, I had to cut out and remove so many plants and get rid of them because it was so bad. So it looks terrible right now, and there's no hardscape except for 1 piece of wood for the plecos. But this is it. There's the val here. And then there's the swords that they're eating, and then dwarf sag and floating plants.
Degenerate says become one with the BBA.
No, thank you. I don't want to, Jason. I don't like it. So yeah, nothing. It looks terrible, and the blackbeard algae is horrid.
So I had it in my show tank, and then I had staghorn. So what I did is I just worked out my CO2 to get the right amount of CO2 to the light mixture, and that fixed mine right up. So
adding CO2.
So that usually have a tendency to work as well. So
get rid of it if you get CO2.
But the thing is, you got to keep on doing CO2 in your tank.
Oh, I would keep on doing it.
Do CO2 then.
Steven has me convinced for sure. For sure.
CO2 is simple. Everybody overcomplicates a CO2 rig. CO2, it's a matter of have it on when the lights come on, have it off when the lights go off. But sometimes you have to go over and, like, my store is open for 5 hours a day. So it's running like 30 bubbles a second because it's all about the plants in that tank. And it looks beautiful. So what I do is I run it after the fact and I run it right before the fact so I can get an extra boost of CO2. And that's what worked in my tank. I tell people to do like 1 bubble a second for the first couple weeks so you get things used to it and then ramp it kind of up. If you have fish, you kind of go slow to get them used to it. If you're going to add fish to it, I just go over and say, look, if you have a CO2 tank and you're injecting CO2 and you want to add fish, just shut your CO2 off. Introduce the fish, and then the next morning when it turns back on, it'll slowly, acclimates them to it.
Yeah, he was saying because all my tanks are right here, all of them, in the same corner over here, that I can, I don't know, get a big tank and connect it to all the.
So yeah, there's quite a few companies that do it. I use a company called Ultimate Nature Systems, which is basically says boostplant.com. They make a regulator that you can keep on adding to it as many tanks as you want, and you just control the drop checker.
I definitely want it on this tank.
Yeah, I can order it free wholesale and everything else, so it'd save you some money. Yep. So right here, like Eric, right away, CO2 is simple, but it can be intimidating. Yeah, intimidating. My biggest hurdle was justifying the cost. So if you look at the the cheapest one I know of is like the Milwaukee brand. I use the Milwaukee in my show tank, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, it's a one cycle and everything else like this. You're gonna gas your tank." I've never gassed my tank before. Here's my thoughts. CO2 is cheap. For me to fill my 20 pounds or my 5 pounds, I use a 5 pound because I'm all about the height in the tank. A 5 pound cylinder, it's roughly, I want to say $17. So mine is like, I turn my pressure down, which I can get to the pressure in a second, turn my pressure down to under 20. And then what I do is if I see bubbles, I know there's CO2. But what I do is on a regular basis, because I do feed my fish, I just look at my first gauge. My first gauge tells me how much gas I have in my tank. If I notice that, so normal tanks is between 5 and 1,000. So if I see it down to 100, I just swap out the tank. For what it costs to fill the tank, just swap it out. Don't try and get the last dollar out of your tank or 50 cents out of your tank. Just swap it out. And then you save money because it's $125 for the rig. But yeah, can you go up to a stainless steel dual and everything else? Yeah, and you're spending like $400 on it. Guess what? The single one worked just fine for me. But the UNS ones are dual stage, so you don't have to worry about that. It's a dual stage.
Well, I definitely want it, especially in this one.
What type of filtration? What type of filtration do you use?
I have a canister in the 55.
Perfect.
And then I have a hang-on back and a sponge filter in this. I have sponge filters in pretty much all of them. But
so what I would use for the one that has has a canister filter, I would use an atomizer. So what an atomizer does is you find your return line from your canister filter and you cut it. You put this little device on there and you plug your CO2 in there. So it's like using a reactor, but they made it so much easier now just to use a small one. I like going over and keeping my PSI below 20. I know a lot of people say put it between 30 and 35. People don't realize. So there's multiple gauges on a regulator. So you get the first one, the knob in front. Okay, that controls how much pressure goes in the tank. So the higher the pressure you put on there, the bigger the CO2 bubbles that happen in the tank. The lower the PSI that you put in there, the smaller the CO2. So you don't want big bubbles because all they do is they float up to the top and they dissipate. You want something that's small and dissipates all over. So I keep mine between 18 and 20 and it has super minute Sprite bubbles, I call them.
Yeah.
And it dissipates out. And then you have the valve on the side for the bubble count, how many bubbles per second. So it's super simple. Like, don't be intimidated. It's super easy. So
can you hear my air pump?
No, I can't.
Oh my gosh, it's driving me crazy. It started yesterday during the morning show.
Yeah, Stephen P says he's gonna be on mute for now, but he goes, "Hi, Brooklyn."
Stephen.
I'm just reading what he said. How you put tons of B's, tons of O's, tons of E, and tons of Y's.
Yeah, it's goofy. We do that.
It is what it is. So, but yeah, everybody, I mean, if you have questions about anything aquatic related, we can talk about aquatics, we can talk about shrimp, we can talk about water changes, we can talk about everything. Remember, if you guys are on Facebook, you got to tell me who you are because you can't just say, "Hey, I'm watching you." LOL. I don't know who you are unless I log into Facebook. But yeah, I think Brooklyn, we're gonna break her more out of her eggshell, and she can be a regular recurring guest on here as a host and everything. I mean, she does great on her aquascapes. I'm not gonna lie. So
I wish I could do more of them. Hardscape is expensive, and I'm so jealous of everybody that's going and like looking for Hardscape where they live because we live in the swamp. So there's like not really that I know of anywhere to go. We don't live by mountains or anything to find, mountain stones or anything like that. That would be awesome.
Like, I live in Minnesota. So Minnesota is high in iron and everything else. So I literally tell people don't harvest things from outside. Here's a fact, okay? If you live in a place that has high iron like us, there could be iron, there could be other stuff in the rocks that are there. You put it in the aquarium and then all of a sudden it's in your water. And then you can never figure out why your plants are dying, why your fish are dying. Wood, leaves, the problem I have with places that like around us is your city may not spray for insecticide for mosquitoes. We have a lot of mosquitoes here in Minnesota. But the city next to you might, and it drifts over. And then you got dragonfly larvae in the wood. You have so many different types of parasites that could be in the wood. I just tell people, look,
Yeah, we have that. But what about the places we order from? I thought about that. Like how do we know that they're not getting, like where is it coming from? You know what I mean?
So most places when they order wood, a manufacturer, JBJ for instance, they bring in Malaysian driftwood and they bring in spiderwood. For it to land, they have to have a fumigation record. So it's got to be fumigated. So that's the biggest thing is like nobody realizes that these manufacturers, they have to have proof before it gets inspected at the dock that it got fumigated. So the fumigation doesn't hurt the animals and stuff because it's made for the aquatic field and stuff. And I've never had anybody have issues with it. You're more likely to have issues buying plants. I found this out. Science Gal says hi.
Hi, Carrie.
I was bringing plants in and nobody really told me that I should dip my plants. And then I started having random deaths in my tank. We all thought it was copper that they sprayed the plants with copper because copper is a great insecticide too for aquatic plants. I tested for copper. There's no copper in there. There's no iron. There's nothing in there. And I was like, well, if it was insecticide, my fish would die in there too. It was the only thing that was dying was my invertebrates. But we tested for everything. I started dipping it. So I'd get a 5-gallon bucket. So that's what I do from now on. I get a 5-gallon bucket. I put a bunch of prime in there and I dip every single plant for at least 30 seconds. So
and just prime?
Just prime. Everything seemed to go over and work ever since then. So, but that's where a lot of places don't. And then when I called them about it, they said, look, Joe, most stores, they have a dedicated plant tank and they don't have animals in it. And I'm like, not that I know of. Most stores put the fish in there because fish, in theory, they poop and they're going to feed the plants. So that's one thing where I don't like when the manufacturer goes over and, well, not the manufacturer, wholesalers go over and kind of argue with the store. Like I had Milwaukee. So Milwaukee, when they sell their regulators, you open it up and there's a little sheet. And the sheet is highlighted in one section and it says the regulator, the gauge on the right-hand side is not warranted. And then what they do is they tell people you don't need that gauge. And I'm like, yeah, I literally called them up and I said, yes, you need that gauge. He's like, no, it has nothing to do with anything. I'm like, it tells you how much PSI goes in your line. He goes, yeah, you don't need that. You control it with the drop checker. I'm like, no, you don't. The drop checker controls how much bubbles per second in the tank it goes. The one gauge controls how much pressure is in the line to control the size of the bubbles. And he argued with me, and I'm like, so you're telling me I'm wrong when I have an aquarium and I know about this? I said, how about we just do this? How about we just agree that people don't read instructions? And what people do is they get their CO2, and get my hand right here. So they take the valve, because the valve, you have to screw it on to get it first on there. And what happens is when you screw it on, it opens up the valve. And what people do is they go to their tank when they turn it on, and they just open up really fast. And what happens is there's so much pressure in there, it takes the needle and jumps it all the way to the other side and breaks it. So he goes, yes, people don't read instructions. So I'm like, so the gauge is actually, we agreed at the end of the conversation, the gauge actually is needed. But what happens is people don't read the instructions. They got tired of warrantying that one part because people don't read instructions.
So they cut the warranty on it.
They cut the warranty on it because the thing is they would have to constantly buy that one gauge and keep on sending that gauge out. So that's why they put a little disclaimer in there saying this is not warranted. Because it makes sense. People take it, like this.
Yeah.
It's a separate piece. They plug it in and they start screwing it in. And what happens is when they screw it in, it opens up the valve to wide open. And then when you turn the pressure on, all that gas shoots in there right away and takes the needle valve and skyrockets it up and breaks it.
So did they do anything for you?
The one customer that had problems, they did go over and say that they will do it for that one customer. They could send back the gauge and they'll replace it. But I constantly tell people when they buy that, I'm like, look, I'm literally telling you right now, this is what's going to happen, and you need to pay attention to me. And if I see him kind of look away, I'm like, stop, listen to me. And I try and explain it to him. I'm like, look, this is not warranted, and this is what's going to happen if you don't pay attention to what I'm saying.
So is that, I'm going to ask a silly question, probably. Yeah. Is that the same company as the Milwaukee Tools, or is that a different company?
I think it's the same mother company, but it's a different part of it. That's what I think. But it's you can't go over and call up them and say, hey, I got a broken screwdriver.
Yeah.
I think it's the same one, because in theory, if I was a business and it was Milwaukee, I wouldn't want to go over and have another company that's in the same lines of it. It could be a separate company too. But everybody always thinks, so those gauges, those regulators, they just import them. They don't make them there. They just import them and they put them in their own box. In the aquatic field, it's called rebox. It's white rebox. Everything comes in a white box and they put it in their own box. It's just what happens.
Yeah.
So
I have a lot of remotes for lights like that.
Yeah. So otherwise, like, I love how I have a store. I can just grab stuff off the shelves. This is the Ultim Nature Systems. This is the single one for running one single tank. Let's see if I can get this open. I gotta find the opening here. Where is it? Oh, here it is. All right. So Milwaukee or UNS makes this one for. Put all the parts down. This is their single one. So this is a dual stage one, so you don't have to worry about gassing out your tank and everything else. The glass, the bubble indicator's in the box, but it goes, let me see here, goes right here. So this plugs into a tank. Let's see, like this. Perfect, like this. That ain't right. Oh, you gotta turn this. That's why. So what they did is they didn't go over and freaking tighten these in. There. So you plug this in. This is your gauge of how many bubbles per second that you need having your tank, and that's what this one controls right here. This is your solenoid right here. Now, the most expensive part in a CO2 reg is the needle valve. That's what controls the drop indicator right here. But what happens is this has on here, it's not on this one. It's the one that has that runs the two tanks. You can literally buy a third one and just punch it in, and just keep on punching in as many as you want. So, but that's the one. If you want to run 4 tanks, that's the one that I would 100% do. Is I would get that one and then buy the separate rigs you need to make it as many as you want, because you can always add to it. But these do come with a price tag. I mean, this one that they have is $159. Where is it? There's my right there. That's what they sell them for. You know, it's the dual one is, I think the dual one's $199, and then it keeps on pricing down as the little part that you buy for it isn't that much. So
to add on.
No. Yeah, I can look it up when I talk to you afterwards.
So what type of driftwood was it that you were saying would be good to get for like vines?
Sagna root. I might pronounce it wrong and stuff, but it's called Sagna root. I've had it once in 4 years. It comes in a small little bundle about this big, and it's about like 12 inches long. What it's made for is, it kind of reminds me of like pasta. And what you do is you put it under the water and it gets it wet, and it's pliable, so you can bend it back and forth and stuff. But it is a little bit expensive. So it's called Sagna roots, and I can always reach out to Tim at Pet World and see if you can bring a bunch in when he brings wood in. It looks like vines. I love it. So
they have that?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask him.
You should.
Like whenever he goes to show, I never see it there, so I gotta ask him if he can bring it in. So
that would be awesome, because right now I'm just looking for like spider wood that has the really small, very tiny pieces. That's what I did for this tank, for all on the rocks. And I really like it. It gives it the, an aged look to it.
It does. I like that your angelfishes come running right up for food.
They do.
So yes, guys, I did take your advice. I did shave the old beard off. I should do the old trimming because we got a lot of gray hair going down here. But yeah, it is what it is. So I want to thank all my members. I want to thank all my members as well. Brooklyn's one of my members. She's a paid member every month. She laughs. All right, guys. So I do want to kind of announce this as well. I'm just kind of looking at all my stuff on my alerts on my phone. Next month, I am leaving the 18th of May and coming back on the 29th. I'm going to Germany. So you guys will have some exclusives there. I am going to Interzoo, which is one of the bigger pet shows there is. It's over in Nuremberg, Germany. They have more stuff than just fish and everything else. They have collars and everything else. It's kind of like the global pet salon floor, but it's so much bigger. It's where all the manufacturers bring all their new products out there. I'm going out there with JBJ Manny, who is my brother by different mother. He is on, if you follow me on Facebook and everything else, he's the profile picture with me. We are going out there to go to Dennerley. Dennerley is known for Shrimp King. They're also known for a lot of other good products out there. So we're going to go out there. I'm going to do some tours of their warehouse. I want to go to their manufacturing company that they do their own tissue cultures as well. And we figured that's 10 exciting. Days I'll be able to get a lot of footage there. So the show is only 3 days. It's 25th, 26th, and 27th, I want to say. And then, of course, one day we have to go get our COVID tests and everything else like this so we can fly back. But I am going there on the 18th. I fly out on the 18th, which is a Wednesday at noon. So I might be able to do my live from there. But this is why I want to bring Brooklyn here. Brooklyn didn't even... because then when I go over there, I can have someone still be here, or not really here, but in America that can go over and help do the videos and stuff like this while I'm out there and stuff. So that is super cool. It's super exciting and everything else like that. So it's the first overseas trip since the pandemic and everything. So I'm happy about it.
That's going to be really fun.
Oh, it's going to be super fun. And I know Jess does lives. She does her lives on Maine's Tails, Fur, and Fin. She does it Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 9 a.m. Central to 11 a.m. And then on Wednesdays, she just follows me right after here for the Aquatic Morning Show on Maine's Tails, Fur, and Fin. And we will get the link popped up. But I'm sure everybody that's watching already knows about it. But we'll get the link as soon as my moderator throws it up. We can click it, highlight it, and put it on up there and stuff. But I know she's going to be super excited because she can get a lot of content on that one too. Carrie, if you want a lot of content as well too, I'm willing to help you out as well. When I do that, please keep in mind it is a 6-hour time difference. So we just got to kind of like plan it all out. And I know that might step on some other people's toes on some stuff, but you got to kind of do a live when you can do a live. Ricky,
so you're going to be ahead, right?
I'm ahead 6 hours.
Yeah.
Ricky says, "Good morning, guys. Glad to see. Brooklyn Bell, how you doing?" He says, basically. There's the Aquatic Morning Show. That link is going up there too. It looks like we're resting our chins on it. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, I'm super happy about it. So it's something that I've been wanting to do. I have other surprises coming up too. But it's all dependent on this trip. So the more it's one of those where I've been saying for months now that we got stuff in the works and stuff, and it's like small steps. It's like one step at a time. So this was like the first step of an announcement, and then it goes to the next step and the next step and the next step. So I'm super excited though, and we're gonna have a lot of good content. So maybe Brooklyn, when she starts producing more videos, maybe Brooklyn can go over there too and go to freaking Interzoo and do some aquascapes.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, Lord, she says. You could bring gumbo to Germany.
I don't know. Oh, I do have a shrimp question.
Yeah.
Are yellow golden backs the same as like 24 karat? Is that the same?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So what happens is breeders over in Taiwan are notorious for for renaming an item. When they rename an item, it sounds like it's a new species and it gets more money. It's kind of like sun-kissed shrimp. Technically speaking, sun-kissed shrimp are a caridina. It's an orange shrimp that has little flecks of red in there. It's a caridina shrimp. But the sun-kissed that are out there are actually neocaridinas. They're just Neocaridina davidii variant orange. That's the technical names on everything. Like cherry shrimp. Neocaridina davidii variant red. But everybody puts all these different names and get more money on it to make people like, oh my god, I got to get this. Now, is there different grading in shrimp? 100%. Like a cherry, you got cherry shrimp, which is kind of clear. You get secure grade, fire red, and painted fire red. The thing is these yellows can do the same thing. You have like a yellow shrimp, and then you have golden backs, which has nice yellow over the back. Now, they say 24 karat golds are super bright yellow. I'm going to be honest. I saw no difference between a 24 karat gold and a golden back. It just depends on where you buy them from. So
are there any other types of neos that have that line on the back? That
the gold, the back line?
Yeah, on like any like
Reds
cherry shrimp or blue dreams or
grades.
anything. Jades.
I've never seen it on the blue jade. I've seen it on the reds, the yellows, greens. Greens used to have like a green with a yellow backline on there. That came from like the orange variation of the green jades. I've seen it on sapphires where you have like the dark sapphires, like a super dark blue, and then it had a lighter blue across the backline. Pumpkin shrimp are from Indonesia. The same concept where the shell of the pumpkin or the shell of the pumpkin shrimp is like the shell of the pumpkin, and then the backline is like the meat of the pumpkin. It's that color, that really late orange. So there's some out there. Some people don't like that at all. It's a genetic thing. Some people don't, though. That's the biggest thing is they see that and they're like, oh my god, I got it.
I like it. Especially if it's like really bright. Kind of like a highlighter. I don't know. I like it.
That can work. For contests and stuff like this, I don't see that many entering in the contest with that though, because it's so hard. Because on contests, it's all about the matching. So all the 5 shrimp, we pick out the best 3 out of the 5 shrimp. They should match. That's how. If they don't match, then you get deducted points, and that's where it's hard with.
Right.
If you have a shrimp that has a backline, that should all match. Speaking on that is we're debating if we want to do an international shrimp contest this year. We're reaching out to Taiwanese breeders and some German breeders out there. This is my thought is, I run the show. If I don't have international people to enter the show, I can't have a contest. I can't make it another USA contest, because you have the American Shrimp Contest USA. We can't do another show for, especially when it's called the International Shrimp Contest, to have USA people. I need to have international people. Now, the problem you have with that is like a lot of places like Taiwan are doing it month by month. They have an outbreak, all of a sudden they shut down travel and everything else. So I'm reaching out to them with the concept of either A, do you want to come to America and do this contest in person, or B, would you at least ship some shrimp to enter this contest? So the problem you have is a lot of international breeders, they do have their counterparts in America here, the people that import their shrimp and sell their shrimp. Some of the breeders that are out there lost, due to the pandemic, they lost their American counterpart, because it's not as easy as like, hey, I can order some shrimp and get them brought in here. You have to have an import license. And the thing is, you got it. Shipping prices went from $7.50 a kilogram to $22 a kilogram. It's just killing people. So we're trying to reach out to them to do this. We would more than likely do it in Chicago. It would be in October. It would be in theory, we would do it at the Aquashella in Chicago. So that's another little cat out of the bag, but we have to plan it out tremendously. I have to get back to the breeders and stuff. I have to get everything working. Now, I know on the USA side, it's been announced that they would have a kind of like a master shrimp person where they added up all the points from the 3 shows. The international show is not affiliated with the USA show, so I would never accept any points prior from a different show to that one. It's just we're a separate entity. So that's, I don't know how they would want to go do that. I'm trying to get a phone call with Rob and discuss more parts with Rob of how we would do it. But I would say this, the Chicago show, I'd be so busy. So we qualified for shrimp freaks, our nature freaks qualified for the aquascape contest to do it in Chicago. So in theory, I would have to do that tank. The shrimp contest is at least always 100 tanks I would have to set up. I would have a booth with Eric. JBJ would also have a booth that I had to do too. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Because Chicago's only 6 hours from me, so I would drive everything there. And I would just bring tons of stuff.
Crypt Keeper has a question about...
Yep. The planaria. Never dealt with planaria before. Long story short, mystery snails are coming out of the tank today and into another one. Question is, will planaria harm community fish? Will they transfer on snails? In theory, any parasite, pest, snail, worm, anything else can get transferred by anything that you put in your tank. They lay eggs. That's the biggest thing, is they lay eggs. You can go over, there is a product, let me get it again, that I use. It's called Z1. It's all natural. It kills Planarian. It kills Hydra. And it's worked very well. Yeah, you saw that? Papa Shrimp said smile. He says, why so serious?
I'm trying to read, and the words are tiny.
Oh, well, what you can do is, you can read, but if you want, you can go over and like literally push it with your finger and highlights it so I can see it too. But no, so Z1 is an all-natural product. So
look at that.
It works. So how I explain it so in the instructions, of course, it's in German, but there's like some on here. It says, dose 1 level scoop for 10 gallons and then let it sit for a week. This is how I dose it. 1 level scoop per 10 gallons, wait 48 hours, do another level scoop, wait 24 hours, and then do a 25% water change. Your planaria will be dead. Your detritus worms will be dead. Your hydra will be dead. Now, I had someone go over and use Z1 and follow the instructions, dosed it as said, and kept it in there for a week. And they said that their snails were dying. So
were all of them dying?
They didn't have like big mystery snails and stuff like this. They had regular snails.
Like pond snails?
Yeah. So I tell people, look, this is how I dose it, and I've been very successful with it, and I had no snails die. So, but the thing is, you have to be obvious that if you have 8 million detritus worms in your substrate, if you dose stuff to kill parasites and worms, they will all die too. That means you're going to have a huge ammonia spike, so you need to clean that substrate really well to get that out.
Yeah, I just used no planaria. I don't know. I guess it's going on a month ago now. And the pond snails there were so many. I filled like 2 shot glasses of shells. Yeah,
it's extra calcium in the tank if you want cage in the tank, but it gets kind of like ugly. But yeah, there's a lot of products.
No.
I mean, there's a lot of products out there. It's the same concept as what you. It's the same concept of what you do. So that's fine. And then also next week I'm gonna do the Fish 2 Mafia giveaway. I'm also gonna do the in-store giveaway as well. What's Papa Shrimp say? Papa Shrimp said, Papa Shrimp. Any trick and tips for Neos that seem a little creamy? I have had people ask, and I'm not sure if Minnesota or just stress. What are your thoughts? All right. So a lot of times, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Papa Shrimp, you're talking about the insides look like a milky white. That's what I'm taking out when you say creamy and everything else like this. There's a disease called muscular necrosis. Oops. There you go. There's a disease. I'll keep this highlighted. So I want to see people's faces.
I didn't mean to do that.
I got it. It's called muscular necrosis. So muscular necrosis is a bacteria that gets underneath their shell. And what happens when a shrimp molts and dies, because it will die from muscular necrosis, and another shrimp eats at its shell or eats its carcass, they will get it as well. Can you treat the tank 100%? Well, what you need to do is you need to take that shrimp out that has that milky body and kind of like put it in isolation. A lot of times I've seen this at Petco's and PetSmarts because they have heaters in their tank. It comes from usually when you don't do proper water changes and the water's over 76 degrees. When tanks are at 76 degrees, A, you get tons of evaporation, and B, you can have bacteria start forming because it's a perfect temperature for breeding. How you treat muscular necrosis is peroxide. You unplug your filter, you do 8 milliliters per 10 gallons, dose the tank, wait a half hour, and plug your filtration back in. That usually kills that bacteria off. But the problem you have is if a shrimp has it in their body, it's not going to fix that. It's just going to get the bacteria out of the water column itself. So shrimp are harvested in streams between 55 and 62. So are these shrimp that you're buying wild caught? No, they're not. 100% not. But it just tells people that you can go over. I don't like all my tanks here at the store. I don't have heaters in my tanks, and everything does fine. My tropical fish do fine. Everything does fine. This is kind of what you shouldn't put a heater in your tank. If you do have a heater because it's too cold, like up here in Minnesota, it's damn cold out. Set it at 72. Don't buy those preset heaters. Those preset heaters are set at 78, which are plus or minus 2 degrees, which normally they're always plus 2 degrees. And you're just asking for trouble. Papa,
for Neos?
For Neos, you want it. Yep. For Neos and Caradinas, you want it cooler. They like cooler water. So, and that's where it's tough because some shrimp, like the reds and the blues and stuff, you can't see that bacteria in there. But on ghost shrimp and Amano shrimp, which are clear, you can 100% tell it. Like you can look at it and see the creamy white inside, and that's muscular necrosis. If that's what you if that's what you need, Papa shrimp, that's what it is.
You said on Amanos you can see that?
Amanos you can, ghost shrimp you can, because the wild caught ones are more clear because out in the wild they don't want to be eaten by fish, so it's a natural disguise for them to be more clear. So if the water's too warm and they get the disease underneath their shell when they molt, and then it affects their insides. So here's Crypt Keeper. I'm going to just read this. I haven't even read it. Joe Shrimp Shack. So for the mystery snails, would it be okay to toss them in a community fish tank that has 0 shrimp? The no plarium will likely kill the snails. So want to move? Yeah, you can move them elsewhere. I mean, you can. I would just make sure that there's no parasites on there. But in theory, the no planaria. I mean, if you don't keep it in there for a week, like I've used this and I've had no problems with it. Only using it for like a 48-hour period. But yes, you could take them and put them in a different tank. So what I would do is I would just put them. I mean, if you're only going to dose for a couple days, go get a vessel. Like literally, go get this like a cheap little freaking $2 vessel. Put some water in there. Put your snails in there. Dose your treatment and stuff, and then take them out and put them out there. Why put them in another tank? That's like cross-contaminate. If you took these and you put them in a different tank, in theory, you could cross-contaminate. So I would just put it in a smaller piece of Tupperware if you want to. I mean, you're only doing it for 48 hours. So, all right. So I'm doing next week, I'm doing the Fish 2 Mafia giveaway. So here is the link if you want to get yourself a Fish 2 Mafia shirt. What happens is I get a lot of donations from sponsors, and at the end of the month, I like doing donations on this. So every show you go to with this, you check in with me, and you start building rank. Everybody likes to have the rank and everything else. And then if you go to fish2mafia.com, you can see where you all sit. Everybody comes up with their own nickname, and then we kind of go venture from there. So I haven't decided. I have to go through my little goodie box of what the manufacturers gave me, and we'll do a giveaway next Wednesday. And Papa Shrimp said, yes, that is the question he asked. Now, a lot of times, like I'm 100% sure Papa Shrimp knew that answer. 100% sure. But the thing is he asked these questions so we can educate other people as well.
You know, I ask questions that I know the answer to because I always question myself. So I'm always.
I do too.
Like I want to learn something over and over and over and over again.
I like that. Amen. Muscular necrosis and Minnesota. That's bad. So Crip says, thanks, Stephen P. I was really confused as why one state has creamier shrimp. And I gotta be careful before creamy shrimp triggers Food Network's algorithms. That's funny. I like that. I'm just kind of going. I like buttery shrimp. So now we're talking about eating stuff. So all my friends, coconut shrimp. Yeah, the same thing. Mystery snail gardens. Quarantine your mystery snails. Do not just add them into another tank until you have the time to filter out the contaminated water. 100%. I mean, literally, you can go buy everybody has Tupperware at home. Just go get some Tupperware, take some tank water in there, put your mystery snails in there, treat your no planaria, do your water change after 48 hours. Well, this is how I do it. Dose it, wait 48 hours, look in your tank. Do you see any more? If you see more, dose it again. If you don't see more, then usually you're pretty good, and then put them back in there. Clean out your substrate good, because that's where a lot of your dead plant matter is going to, or plant matter, dead carcasses from the
Planaria.
planaria and detritus worms and everything else. See, I get brain farts.
I do too.
So what it is, I can't get my coffee maker going, and I need more coffee.
Oh, you've never got it fixed?
Oh man, like someone says I should descale it and stuff, and I was
that's what I was talking about. There's like a little cleaning pod thing for a
Keurig. The thing is, it's not spinning. So then someone says, well, it's probably dirty and stuff, but it's just like when so I have an espresso machine. So when you put it down, when I hit the button, you hear that click click, like it's trying to spin, but it doesn't spin. But when I pop it up, I can free spin it. So I don't know. I bought this from one of my customers, and maybe this is why he got rid of it. I have no idea. But
well, it was working though.
It was, and I really wanted some coffee. So, Stephen P., question everything. Trust no one, except if Brookley is escaping your tank. I'm telling you, Brookley. So let's.
It took me 6 weeks to do this.
I'll tell you this though. Like, let's rewind time. You were on the lives and stuff like this, and I'm like, send me a picture of your tank. And you're like, I just don't want to come on. And look, you're doing lives now. You're talking more. We're breaking you out of the shell.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. You'll get better.
A little bit.
You'll be like a chatty cat by the time we're done with you.
I don't know if I would be by myself for sure.
Well, the thing is like, that's why it's like last week. Was it last week? Yeah, last week. I kind of did the whole positive vibe type thing. I kind of go on a rant. Something pops up in my head, and I kind of go on a rant. My stepmom, who was watching, said I should be a preacher. That I missed my calling. I should have been a preacher and everything else. That's just not. I swear. I get on a rant. Another friend went over and said, hey, Joe, I'm going to be honest with you. That's what I'm talking about, how you should be on every single live. That's my personality type thing where I can make random jokes. But I try and explain, when you're here by yourself, then you're looking at a camera, I can't be funny. Like, I'm literally staring at my monitor on my camera right now, making sure that I'm actually looking, because if I look at my computer, it looks like I'm looking down, so I have to look at my camera.
Yeah.
But I can't be funny by myself.
I can't look at myself.
Why?
I'm looking at you.
Why can't you? Well, yeah, because we're having a conversation, but why
I'm not.
can't you
No. And I can't rewatch anything that I was.
Why?
I don't like it.
Why?
I don't like it because I don't.
Positive vibes about yourself. Why?
Sure. I don't know. I just don't. Not conceited.
Oh, it's not
the opposite. I'm the very opposite of that. Very opposite.
Oh, wait. So Beck's Fish Room says, so I heard this amazing aquascaper is a guest on the channel today, so I had to come by and see her, Brookley.
Thanks, Bex.
Yes. So I actually talked to Miss Bell. I just got Miss Bell, the whole southern Miss Bell, about possibly being on here on a regular basis. It's one of those things where I do go on rants and I do get sidetracked. Maybe it's easier for someone to kind of reel me back in. It also helps when I go on a rant, someone can go over and click links that I can read and kind of like veer me back in. I mean, we'll see. She's not obligated to do this, but I know she said that she would do this.
Yeah, so, I'm ADHD, so I do my best.
Yeah,
to not get distracted or wrapped up in a rant.
Yeah, I get caught on rants all the time. Papa Shrimp says, rewatch Brookley. I've learned so much about myself rewatching streams. It's helped me relax more and smile.
Well, I tried to rewatch one.
He capitalized smile.
Okay,
like I told you on the
have
live
the resting you-know-what face. It is
smile.
What it is.
There's a smile right
but
there.
I feel weird to sit here and just smile. Like, that's just...
But it's not like you're talking to yourself. You're having a communication, so you should be able to smile. What's great about this is, like, a lot of times, like, I've had like I've FaceTime family members and I've had them like forget that they're on camera, and I've
Hmm.
caught them like rolling their eyes. I'm like, dude, I just saw you roll your eyes.
Oh,
Like
I am very expressive. So
it
yeah,
happens.
I
It
am.
happens.
I have no poker face ever.
Maybe you'll learn. And then you're talking about possibly doing your own channel and doing some more video content and everything
Maybe.
else. There's nothing wrong with it. You can show your tanks. Like you can literally videotape your tanks, put some audio on there, and just have like the solitude.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like,
Rewatching myself, I had a bad experience with that. I was so upset. I hated it. I felt overwhelming like humility.
why?
And I hate because it was just horrid. I can't do it.
So do you have a
Can't
phobia now
rewatch
of
it.
it? Do you have a
Huh?
phobia? Do you have a
Yeah, I
phobia?
just didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. Ask Steven. I was super upset. So I don't watch myself anymore.
Well, I think we're gonna have. So I don't like. I don't
I
really
will
watch.
have to edit. I know that. If yeah, but I'm not
Yeah,
ready
I
yet.
know. Like when my stepmom said I should have been a preacher, I know I went back and I kind of listened to it, and then I made a small clip and I put it on there. That's kind of like how I like to live my life. Is the whole concept of positivity, um, and that's where it's tough because I'm not trying to like blame Generation Z or anything else like this, but when I was growing up, I mean, yeah, some people got picked on, some people, but for the most part, you treat people the way that you want to be treated.
Hmm.
And now it's like everybody has to walk on eggshells and of what they say and how they say something, and it's just like,
Yeah, I don't like that.
and that's where it's tough because people are afraid to say something. Like
Hmm.
I'm a very affectionate person. I'm a very blunt person. If I like you, you're gonna know I like you. If I don't like you, I'm gonna be 100%. You're gonna know I don't like you. So I'm not gonna
Yeah.
sugarcoat things. I'm not gonna go behind your back. Everything I say, I would say right to your face. Um, and it's tough because like everybody's so afraid now, and it's funny because in Minnesota it's called Minnesota nice. Everybody's always nice, and there's people, some of my friends that are around the nation that they're more Minnesota nice than I am. But I warn my customer, I tell them, look, I'm a blunt person. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. If you're doing something wrong in your tank, you're going to 100% hear from me that you're going to do something wrong.
Nice or fake nice?
No, I mean 100%. I'm blunt. There ain't no
No,
fake nice with me.
Minnesota people.
It's fake nice. Yeah, fake nice. It's one of
Yeah.
those things like, oh my God, it's been so long. I haven't seen you. God, I hate that person. Hey, yeah. That type of thing. But
I'm
I'm just like,
people are pretty friendly down here for the most part, and if
they are. I had fun
they're
down
not,
there.
it's good. There's good people here.
I had fun, but the one thing I will say that the beignets.
The beignets.
I'm just telling you, it's a freaking square
Yeah.
donut.
I told you, to get a good beignet, you have to find this hole in the wall gas station place that has the best freaking beignets. But like, I don't. Cafe Du Monde is not.
Everybody talked that place up, so I went to it. And I was just like,
Maybe a
here
long
it
time
is.
ago it was great, but not anymore.
Yeah,
My
I went,
opinion.
chump. What was it? No, I have done the king cake. We
Yes.
have ordered the king cake here, so I get my head shaved every Monday, and we end up
Yeah.
ordering the king cake, and whoever got it has to buy the next one. Well, Des ended up biting into it, so she has to go do it. But everybody was talking at the barber shop. They're like, well, wait a second, someone could choke on that baby. So that's the thing with this king cake is they insert this little small half-inch
Mm-hmm.
baby into
Mm-hmm.
the cake someplace. And the rule is if you get the piece that has that baby, you have to buy the next king cake.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome marketing strategy. Awesome. But what happens if someone puts it in their mouth? Like she literally put it in her mouth, started chewing it, it hit it. What happens if you swallow the thing?
Well, everybody down here is just we're born knowing that. So
Yes, Stephen P. I did go to the airport one, okay?
I was born and raised around that every year. Like that's a normal thing. So when we're eating king cake, we always, make sure we're not gonna bite into the baby.
It just happens though.
It does seem like a bizarre thing that we do a lot of weird things down here.
It happens though.
Mhm.
Poetic Song says, I've never understood people feeling so afraid of recording themselves. We all look ridiculous. We all feel ridiculous. We all know this. Just do and enjoy yourself. We're all a little mad here, 100%. And I know we probably didn't talk too much, but we did talk about a lot of aquatic stuff today. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
we
I
get on
had some
different rants.
questions.
And we had some questions. Sharon Scale, Carrie says, let me get up to so I can read it here. It took me a while to put myself in my videos. Hated seeing myself on camera. Still don't rewatch live streams.
Yeah.
No, Bunny Viper's like the airport. That's not Dumont's, Joe. Well, I'll tell you this right now. Jess went over and was late picking me up one day because she had to pick up some beignets. And this was my first beignet. I literally took one, bit into it. I'm like, it's a squared no nut. that's all I said. I wasn't impressed by it. But I will tell you this right now. Catfish, love it. Gumbo, jambalaya, love them both. I always like red beans and rice, but that food truck that was there, oh, dude, I got to talk to Eric about getting the same food truck there because that red beans and rice was off the chain. So what did Papa Shrimp say? And then we can start wrapping up. I got away with hiding in the background as a live performer playing drums. Was easy to bury my face and hair and just play. Took me a long time to get over myself and just make videos. Yes. And then, of course, Crypt Keeper's like, I enjoy making content, just don't want to hear myself. So
I was a dancer for 16 years, so I've been in front of audiences. I did a solo in front of like 900 something people, but speaking is where I have issues. I have public speaking anxiety, I guess, like to the point to where I failed in school because I literally couldn't do it. I would just fail and not care. So,
but for positive reinforcement, everybody here, everybody on Jess's show, everybody the show that you like, they love you. It's just, I think you have a little bit of personal confidence that we're going to bust you out of your shell and freaking, get you going a little bit more. We're going to get this. We're going to do this one step at a time. Admitting it's the first step, and you just admitted it.
Oh, yeah. I don't lie. I admit it.
So even Bex goes over and says, we're going to get you making videos, Brooklyn. It's happening. I'm telling you, we're going to work side by side. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to help you do this, help you make some videos. Even if we start you just recording your aquarium and stuff and just doing some voiceover or whatever you want to go do on that one, we're going to get you go doing this on this one. I do want to thank everybody for...
The scotch did help. The scotch did help.
Did it?
You didn't watch our video. Watch it. It's very...
I will have to watch the video. So here's the thing.
Very
it's like
fun.
Everybody wants me to watch videos, and the thing is, I'm a one-man band. So
watch it. Just listen to it. Just listen to it then. It's funny.
Your speech?
It's just funny. It's just funny? A funny... Yeah. That's yeah. The things that were said.
Scotch, too. Iodine. I don't drink, so it is what it is.
Yeah. I said shrimp were going to be judging my tank. They're going to be judgmental about my scape.
I'm gonna have to watch. She's talking about she did a blind aquascape with Stephen P 2003. That's the video she's talking about right there. If we get the link, if my moderator can throw up the link, I'll put the link up there. But I do kind of want to thank everybody for subscribing to me. I know I hit about a week ago the 4,000 mark, but I know like I've been doing a lot of promoting going back and forth, and I'm sitting at 4,800 right now, so I got another 800 subscribers. I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank my members. I have the little link. I started putting up this link. Members, they do help me out a lot. So they help me get in the recording equipment and everything else. General, see this. It's working good. Miss Bell, question in general at Joe. So would you recommend keeping Neos in an outdoor tub, keeping in mind I live in Texas and it does get hot down here? So good question on that one. So you can keep in outdoor tubs. Grant Eder from the Garden of Eder, he does do this as well. You have a bigger water column on that one, so it's a lot easier to do stuff. Just watch your water and how warm it gets. It's one of those things where, in theory, that water could get tremendously warm and you could actually start blooming bacteria infections. So here it is right here. It's monsters. There it is. Stephen P. and Brooklyn's Blindscape. There is the video, guys. If you guys haven't seen the video, please go to it. I know Neos can get to a pretty low temp, but here in Texas, I can't imagine leaving them outside. You can, what I would do is I would get maybe a 10-gallon tank. Go get a 10-gallon tank, fill it with water, set it outside, and see how warm the water gets. The bigger the water column, the cooler the water is. But of course, I'm gonna guess the water column is gonna probably get it in the 80s, if not 90s. So I would just be kind of wary on that one. So
I want to do a pond outside.
do a pond.
Yeah.
On this episode of Brooklyn Bell, Brooklyn does a pond.
It's crazy hot down here. And then we have like hurricanes. Like my luck, I'm going to do a really great scape, and then a freaking category 4 hurricane's going to come in, destroy it. And that's going to just make me bitter.
Up here. It just snowed the other day. It literally just snowed in Minnesota. We can't get rid of winter. So
yeah.
So here's a good question. So here's a good thing too. So Papa Shrimp actually lives down in Texas. So it depends on the water volume and how much direct sunlight. I'm in Texas too, but I have trees and heavily wooded areas to keep the tubs cool. So Papa Shrimp does live down there, and he has ponds outside. So
yeah,
in theory you can. So yeah, it depends on how much direct sunlight there is too.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm unsure. And Beck, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Is Jess doing her live after me? I have no idea, because she hasn't popped in here and says, "Hey, Joe, I'm watching."
I didn't ask her yesterday. I don't know.
I don't know either. But guys, my time is up. I greatly appreciate you guys. I'm gonna try and get some more shorts done today. Brooklyn, we're gonna talk right after this. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank all my subscribers. I want to thank all my members on here. If you haven't become a member, please become a member on there. It helps me out in the longevity of this. We're going to probably have Brooklyn go over and start being on regular appearance on the show here. I want you guys to have a shrimptastic day. And what's this one? How hot is too hot? So perfect, Papa Shrimp. That was a question for you on that one. I'll let you kind of like answer that quick, and then we're going to kind of log off in there. Monster Fish Gal, great moderator right there, says I don't think she is. So we'll see if Papa Shrimp answers this one quick too, because he might have already logged off then too. If not, I know Papa Shrimp can go over and put the comment underneath your comment there, and you can check that one out. So guys, I want to thank you. I want you guys to have a shrimptastic day. And if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can just let me know. All right. Oh, there's Papa Shrimp. Water temp should not go over 90 ever. But I've never seen it happen, and it can cause probs, 100%. So
yeah.
All right, Brooklyn, can we get a big smile for everybody? Let's see those pearly whites. There we go. Yeah. All right, guys, have a shrimptastic day. We'll catch you next week.